Hi, and welcome to Stamp with Ginny. Today I'm going to share with you this little Get Well card using the Healing and Hugs stamp set found in our online exclusives. So let me set this aside and I'll show you how I got started. I'm going to start with my stamping for this project. I'm going to bring in my little puppy here and stamp him right in the middle of my square. And then I'm going to bring in a strip of 1/2 inch basic white and stamp right in the center of this. I'm going to be trimming this so that works. I don't have to be very specific at this point. I'm going to bring in my basic white inside signature panel. Make sure you are putting this in the orientation you want before you stamp. And then I'm going to bring in the little paws. Let's say I'm going to put one here and one there. There we go. I've got my stamping done and I'm ready to color. So I've got my stamping blends and I'm going to color the little license on my puppy in Daffodil, and then I'm going to bring in my Summer Splash, and I am going to use the light to do his collar, and then I'm going to bring in the dark and add some detail to the water bottle on his head. And then bring the light back in and finish coloring. There we go. Next I'm going to bring in the basic black for his nose. And the crumb cake for his body. I'm going to start with the light crumb cake on his muzzle. And then I'm going to bring the darker crumb cake in, and I'm going to highlight some of those areas where it should be darker. By adding a couple of layers and then just coming back and coloring. I wasn't careful with his eye there, so I brought my color lifter in and started using it on his eye to push that color back out. And I can do that again. I like to use the color lifter in layers because it takes a little bit of time to push that color back. And then I'm going to bring in my Calypso Coral. Let's see, I'm going to use my fine tip end. Quickly do my outline. If you haven't used a color lifter, it really is a game changer for those little oopses and makes you more efficient with your coloring. Finally, I'm going to take the dark and do the lines and the edge of the blanket. There we go. I've finished coloring my puppy and I'm ready to fussy cut him. There we go. I've got my fussy cutting done and we're ready to assemble. So I'm going to bring in my card base here, fold it on the score line, and bring in my piece of basic white that I've embossed with the Plaster Painting 3D embossing folder. Now this has got a really aggressive embossing and texture, so you want to make sure you use a light touch if you're using our seal, or the multi-purpose adhesive will allow you to lay that down without worrying about that. Then I'm going to be bringing in my designer series paper and deciding where I want to place it. And I'm going to put these down across the card front here, kind of at some fun angles. I'm going to start with my outside pieces. This is our color stack, or I should say collection stack, and it comes in 4 patterns, and you're going to get some of each color in the color collection. There we go. Next I'm going to bring in my sentiment. Now I'm going to place my puppy over here on the left hand side, so I want to decide where I want to place this, and I'm going to cut it off a little bit on this end, and then I'm going to cut at an angle on that end, and I'm going to adhere this down first. Once I have that in place, I can add my puppy, but I'm going to do so with these mini Stampin' Dimensionals. I really like the minis because you can tuck them in where you would like in these small places, and they will support your image. Once I have the backings off for my dimensional, I can adhere my little guy exactly where I want him. Once I have that done, I'm ready to bring in my 2024 in color flat pearls. Just love these flat pearls. They have this beautiful little shine, and they come in all the colors. So I'm going to pop a few of these little pearls around my card front. Like so, just to add a little bit of shine. At this point, I'm ready to add my inside panel. I can either set it inside or adhere it down, whichever you prefer. So there you go, a fun little card using the Hugs and Healings stamp set, one of our online exclusives. And of course, if you'd like any of these products, feel free to stop by my online store. You can get there from my blog, Stamp with Jini. Thanks for joining me.